So I've been working in banking and finance in London for over 6 years. And over this time, I've more than doubled my salary. I've worked for American investment banks, for online trading companies, for British banks. And today I'm going through every single job that I've had, what I did, what I liked about it, and how it paid with real numbers. I'll also go through some of the key lessons that I learned over these years in corporate life. Make sure you listen till the very end because I've got pretty exciting news to share. My background might give it away a little bit. Now, starting off, my first ever corporate job was for very big American investment banks. I had an internship with Morgan Stanley on my third year of my degree, and the actual job was quite mundane. The task that I did was a lot of data entry, a lot of shadowing other people, and a lot of spreadsheet work, which was okay. I'm really happy. It gave me an insight into what a big investment bank looks like, how it makes money, and also just general corporate communication. Don't forget, that was my first ever kind of corporate job, and I was still a student. So it's really good to have an insight into just what the working world looks like. I think these internships are absolutely critical. Everyone graduates with a very similar degree from very similar unis, and I think the thing that makes you stand out in the job market is having work experience, having shown that you put in the effort during the summers or during the year to seek out these work opportunities, and especially if it's from a very recognizable name, a brand name, like for example, one of these big investment banks. It really sets you apart when you're going for graduate jobs later on. Now, I received the offer to come back full-time in their graduate program the following year, and the salary for that was £24,000. Quite modest, but remember, it was a few years ago now, and also it was for kind of back middle office. Yeah, I think at the time it was a fairly decent graduate salary. Now, after my internship, the offer to return full-time, which I didn't take, it takes me to my graduate job. In 2019, I started a job in a publicly listed online trading company, and main job was as a sales trader, which meant I would be on the phone and execute trades for clients. And the graduate scheme meant that I was, part of a class of graduates, and we would rotate across different departments within the firm. I spent time with risk departments, with the portfolio management team, with the new client onboarding. And I think one of the great things about these graduate schemes is that you actually get to sample many different roles at the same time. My salary for my graduate role was £34,000. That was in London. I think at the time it was a decent graduate salary. And that salary remained the same over the course of the 2 years of my graduate scheme. After the end of the graduate scheme, I then got a permanent job at the same company. I joined the institutional department, which meant I was in the team that provided brokerage services to big institutional clients, like hedge funds, like family offices, which are effectively small companies set up to manage the wealth of a specific family. I also dealt with other brokers, just a whole suite of very big institutional clients, which was very exciting. The salary for this new job was £40,000, so a step up from my graduate salary. And at this point, I was 3 years into my career. The specific role was more operational, which meant I was kind of behind the scenes, making sure that everything ran smoothly. I worked close with the sales team, which won the accounts. And then I made sure that everything went smoothly, and I would coordinate between many different teams like compliance, legal, and the onboarding teams to make sure that we could get that account live, as smoothly as possible. A year into the role, I went through the standard performance review, and I received very good feedback from my manager, and I had the top of the bands that you can get in terms of performance rating. And I used that to get a promotion. My salary went up from £40,000 to £46,000. And my job was the same, slightly more seniority and more responsibility, but overall, I had the same job. That was a big thing for me because I never asked for a promotion or salary increase ever in my life. I always just took what I was given. I didn't negotiate my graduate role. I'd never gone through that experience before, which was a bit nerve-wracking, but quite exciting, considering especially that it all went well in the end and I got the promotion. Now, I was enjoying my job, but I wanted to get more of the action. I was dealing with these big clients, these big hedge funds, family offices, trading firms, but I was still behind the scenes. I was craving more client contact. A bank is divided in back office, middle office, and front office. And the front office is the one that is revenue generating and is client facing. And that's what I wanted. And after many rounds of interviews, I managed to land my front office role. a big British bank, similar industry, so in the prime brokerage world, working with institutional clients, but I had a lot more responsibility. This is the job that I have now, so I'm a relationship manager for a book of different institutional clients, and I manage a relationship with these clients. I'm the main point of contact for all of their activity, and I'm the person that they go to if something's wrong. I wanted a role with more responsibility. I wanted to speak to clients. I realized for my personality type, that's what I wanted. And sometimes it takes a bit to figure it out, what you like, what you don't like. With this new job and increase in responsibility also came a very good increase in pay. I went from £46,000 to £70,000. I never would have had this 50% pay rise had I stayed in the same company. But more than the money, the big driver behind this move was because I wanted a new challenge, I wanted to find a role that better suited my personality. Now, about a year into this new role, I then got a subsequent pay rise of about 10%, so slightly above inflation. And that was just due to a normal pay review from the bank. A big lesson that I learned from all these years in corporate life is that if you don't ask, you don't get. That's true for opportunities. For example, in my old job, as a graduate, I've been able to work alongside the COO of a publicly listed company. And that allowed me to be in rooms that I had no business being in with people way more qualified than I was. That helped me build a relationship and helped me get a new job at that company. And my advice is always to just put your hand up when new opportunities come up, especially when you're young, especially when you're starting out in your career. No one will shoot you down because you're too keen. I think it's the moment to try and get involved in as many things as you can and trying to gravitate toward the things that interest you and never know where things could lead you. When it comes to money, I got a pay rise in my old job, and that was because I put together a portfolio of all the things I had achieved, good feedback from my team members and from clients. And I plucked up the courage to set up a meeting with my boss and tell him, this is why I think I deserve a raise. This is what I've done. This is, the different milestones I've achieved, how I saved the company money. The world didn't end after that conversation. Actually, you know what? He agreed. And that's why I walked out with the pay rise. So I think if you've got a good evidence to back yourself, then why not have that conversation? If you think you're underpaid, have that conversation. If you think you should have a different job title, whatever that is, I think don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And it's definitely something I need to constantly remind myself of because it doesn't come naturally. I did it that one time and I remember I was sweating buckets before going into that conversation, but I was so glad that I did afterwards. But I need to tell myself that every time. I've also learned that, shouldn't be afraid to move. I had a good job that I enjoyed and in my old company, but it wasn't quite enough. I wanted something different. I wanted a bit more. And that allowed me to then go and interview and get a different job, which is what I have now. And I absolutely, I really enjoy my job. I enjoy coming into the office every day. I enjoy the team. And yeah, that goes to show that sometimes you need to roll the dice and be willing to give up something that's good for something that's potentially great. And I think there's no better time than earlier on in your career to make these bets. I never would have found the job that I am in now had I not been willing to give up the kind of comfortable, good job that I had before. Yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on this. Now, I teased this crazy twist that happened earlier on in the video. What is it? Well, here we go. I'm moving to New York with my job, with my current employer. I'm relocating from London to the US. I'm joining the team over there. And I can't believe these words that have been coming out of my mouth. It's been a dream of mine to live in that city for years, and it's finally happening. Again, that happened because I put myself out there. I had a conversation with my manager, told her what I wanted to do, and here we are. I'm about to pack my bags in a few weeks, and I'm about to go out to the Big Apple to live for a year over there. That goes to show that you never know. You never know what opportunity can present themselves in your career, especially if you do a good job. And if you make it known that you're doing a good job, then, the world's really your oyster. So yeah, there you go. I feel like I've been rambling for a long time. I'm 29, but I really enjoy what I do. I'm about to go into this crazy journey, which is relocating to a completely different country, and I can't wait. It's scary. It means leaving a job where that I currently enjoy, a team that I really enjoy, but I think it means embracing a whole new set of challenges and just living in a city that I've been dreaming of for years. So yeah, so there we go. That's kind of my story so far. And yeah, next time I see you, I'll probably have a completely different background. That was it. I hope it was useful. And if you've got any questions, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.